Hello everyone and welcome back. And today's original video was supposed to be about this, my new CNC machine that I just got. And I was going to walk you through it and put it together and all sorts of things, but I got a nasty surprise. Situation I ran into was I came into the shop and it has been very wet and rainy and high humidity lately, and as well insulated as my shop is, all of my cast iron surfaces, like my table saw, the cast iron bed to my jointer and planer, the cast iron bed to my bandsaw, the aluminum of my chop saw, just fine. The plastic bed of my, oh, wait, never mind, that's plastic, it's fine, have oxidized. And what had happened was the moisture had kind of fallen, had basically just kind of sat on all my cast iron surfaces for quite a while, causing them to oxidize. And it is very hard to do woodworking when everything is covered in a light layer of rust. So this is a lesson to me that I have to be sure to coat these on a more frequent basis, but also be aware that when it's really humid, I got to come out here and do a little bit more maintenance on my tools. So I'd rather be putting my CNC together. I'm going to show you how I take care of my cast iron surfaces, because they come flat as all flat can be. They're great surfaces. They last a very long time. Chances are I'll be passing these down to my kids, etc., because they're so well made. And if you ever can find tools that have cast iron beds to them, especially the bigger, thicker ones, those are going to be the tools that really last a super long time. So let me show you what I do to make sure that these stay as flat and as rust-free as possible, but also to help your wood pieces glide through your tools, so that when they glide through, you don't get them stuck or they don't start to jitter a little bit, which can be a safety issue. Thankfully, this is fairly easy, and getting the rust off is not too bad, because you can see this is just surface rust, and even where my fence was, you can see a lot of the moisture did not creep in. So I'm not going to be going aggressive with this. I'm actually going to go fairly slow, and I'm going to be taking my just a regular DA sander. In this case, I've got some 320 grit, and I'm just going to lightly go over the surface. Looks like the rails here did not get too rusty on the inside. They were still coated from before, not a lot of stuff going on there, but if I needed to, I'd get in there with a just a quick little scrub brush like this. But basically, I'm just going to take my DA sander, put some paper on there, and then I'm going to let the machine do the work. I'm not going to be digging or doing this. So I'm just going to literally let the gravity of the machine do the work until I get down to fresh metal, because I do not want to put any divots into the bed of my machine here. So just a real quick demonstration. So basically, this will get most of your surface rust off. Now, if you've got a little bit of a deeper rust situation, you might want to use a chemical. Vinegar sometimes works really well. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go one step slightly more aggressive, just because I can still see some little tiny things in the bed here. Alright, so just kind of show you the difference. This is kind of where we started with a bunch of surface rust, and then this is kind of where we're at. It needs to be cleaned up a little bit just to kind of show you. Does leave some scratches to it, so just kind of keep that in mind. Your DA will leave it, but I like the DA because the pad on the DA tends to be very soft. So on most DA sanders, the pad has some flex to it, and you saw I was just kind of going real light passes. I wasn't pushing on any one particular area. But this is just kind of one step, and you need to take one step further to make sure that the rust doesn't come back, because now you've left virgin metal here that is left to the elements, and if you leave it too long, that oxidation will just come right back, because now you've got bare metal and it just wants to come, the moisture wants to stick to it. So you need to do something to keep the metal from, you know, getting that oxidation right back into it. And then that step is actually pretty easy. All right, so the final step in the process, you're going to need to be able to coat this with something. And there are two things that I use on a regular basis. And if you saw from the table bed of my jointer, I had most recently waxed that one. But the two things that I recommend for when you coat this is first is just kind of some finishing paste wax that you can get at the store, which the cap needs to be secured more often. But also the one that I call Eric's Ooze. Why does everybody always laugh when I say that? Eric's Ooze is a secret, super secret formula of mineral oil and beeswax, usually about a 1 liter to, maybe slightly half a pound secret formula to, mineral oil to beeswax. But your taste might, flavor might differ. So anyway, Eric's Ooze is also food safe as well. So this is stuff that I put on cutting boards before I send them out with customers. So this is something I just kind of keep on hand. But generally, easiest way to do this is to grab some wax and just kind of layer it on there and then let it sit for a couple minutes and then wipe it right off. Just take a little bit of paste wax. You don't have to be nice about it. You can really get in there. But coat our top bit here, kind of rub it in. And the good part about when you do this is that it will allow for your work pieces to slide a little bit easier, especially in your jointer and planer, where it's going to need a little bit more coaxing sometimes to get through the planer portion of things. But make sure you get inside the rails here. That's also helpful. And then I'll just do this piece too. But yeah, this is something that I had neglected for a while, and spring moisture come in and, well, reminded me that I needed to make sure to grease all of my metal pieces. All right, so next piece, I'll just take a dry, clean piece here. After a couple minutes, after it's kind of soaked in a tad, wipe off all the excess sitting there, and you can see all the little metal bits from the sander. But it is important to take care of your cast iron pieces, because if left too often, you'll start getting pits and little holes and stuff in the beds of your cast iron pieces. And these are expensive to replace and also expensive to machine. So it's important to maintain, especially the cast iron ones, because these are the good ones. These are the ones you want to have. So little maintenance goes a long, long way. Now, is this perfect right now? Nah, that's all right. But it is coated, and I can definitely feel it with my hand how much smoother this is going to be and how much easier my work pieces are going to slide through it. All right, so here's a bit of a close-up of it. Kind of getting all the wax down, the paste wax that I was using, but it slides very nice, and you can kind of see where we started, where we ended up. And if you really wanted to make it look uniform, you could go back with your sander and go back. But I hit it with a 320. The most aggressive I usually go with surface rust is a 220 sandpaper, DA, real light, again, just kind of light coats back and forth. And I don't think this caused any damage whatsoever. And because I did a bunch of light passes, I did not take anything out of it. I think you can see our bed here is still flat in every direction. So yeah, just don't gouge it, and don't tip your sander. And sometimes when you want to get a certain spot, let the sander do the work, and you should be good. So yeah, it's even shiny. So anyway, thanks a lot, folks. Have a good one.